Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
You guys smell that? Football is in the air here at Wager Talk, but we don't give a damn about that. We got Asian baseball to break down. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, and we're happy to be with you, talking a little Japanese baseball, a little KBO. With me are the guys, Tokyo Brandon, Adam Trigger. Boys, the pre-show meeting was full of love for the Dolphins, more of it, a lot of football talk, a lot of just goofing around to get ready for Asian baseball today. So, Trig, I'm going to start with you. How are you doing, my man? What do you have up? I know you're a big-time football bettor, but we still got some edges to having in the KBO. Have anything posted for clients today?
So, Dan, yeah, football's back. That's what I have up right now. I have a 5% NFL play. It goes on Sunday. Love this game, and I had a great NFL season last year. Already off to a great start, 5-3 in the preseason, so turn to profit there. And my first 5% of this year, 4-1 to close the year on 5%ers last year in the NFL. My first one of this year goes Sunday. It's the only thing I have up for sale right now. I've posted one college football play. That's on my page for free. And I'm going to give you guys my only play for Thursday is in, well, I guess you would call it Friday morning, is in the KBO. But Dan, actually, it's kind of Thursday, remember? So I want to just make sure everyone knows this. Great night to be a night owl degenerate on the East Coast, because you've got Bills, Rams. You can then go tune in to White Sox, A's, watch the end of that. And the KBO is early tomorrow. Starts at 1 a.m. Eastern. So I don't know, Brandon, is it like a holiday in Korea or something? Because we've got early baseball on a Friday. So it's late baseball here. 1 a.m. start on the East Coast. Just let it ride. Stay up all night. Watch Korean baseball. It should be great time.
Yep.
Well, I'm lucky because I am one of those East Coast night owl degenerates. So you're speaking my language right there, Trig. So I got plans for this Thursday evening into Friday morning. What a way to start the weekend. Brandon, you have anything posted? I know some plays that you're pretty excited about coming down the pike here. How's it going, Brandon?
Yes, I have a song during this show that I'm going to dedicate to our lovely and warm producer, Joe Ranieri, but I'll save that for later in the show. I don't know if he's still here. But I do have a 5% max play tonight in Japanese baseball, which I've been running pretty hot in Japanese baseball. Been a little stale in the KBO in the last week or two. But in Japanese baseball, I have a money line play. It's a 5%er, which is out. And I do have a 2-play pack in the KBO, which is also out. So those are both released, and I will give away one of my KBO plays at the end of this show. So I don't know if it's a holiday in Korea or not, but all the games are starting at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, which is really early, 2 p.m. local time, so which is 10 p.m. on the West Coast. So yeah, really early. So DGen special on Thursday nights. Gotta love it.
It's always a holiday. Go ahead, Trig.
You never, it's great for, the West Coast never gets, the 10. We get the 10 p.m. start on the East Coast all the time, but this is, the West Coast never gets
10 p.m. on the West.
Start,
yeah.
You get it with the KBO here.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yep.
That's what was brutal, was when we were in Vegas, you're hanging out. The book's like a ghost town by 10 o'clock because there's nothing on, every day. So, yes, okay, the West Coasters, we don't have to stay up late. I stay up late anyways. I need something on the TV. So, guys, let's get into our standings update here before we start getting into some different takeaways that we have, our featured game, of course, and then some series breakdowns that we'll have for you. SSG still clinging to that one spot, but two of the hottest teams that we're going to talk a little bit are knocking right behind them with LG and Kiwoom. KT kind of staying a little bit middle of the pack there, 5-5 over their last 10. Kia, no difference there, 5-5 over their last 10. Then you kind of have your best of the rest. Lotte could potentially make a little run at it for that 5 spot, but we'll see how that shakes out. So, Trig, we look at the standings there, and I just want to get your thoughts. You gave us kind of how the playoffs are set up and how that could kind of set things up here down the pike from a handicapping perspective, but you're doing a little playoff watch as we continue on to the playoff season here in the KBO.
Yeah, Dan, I kind of decided that there's only a couple weeks left in the regular season, so I figured we'd kick off each show with kind of like an update of where these teams stand, who's in it, who's out of it, because, listen, the magnitude of games does matter, and I feel like it's mattered in KBO specifically the last couple of years. So let's kind of go through the standings. Doosan Bears have lost 5 straight. They're out of it now. Brandon and I both kind of talked about this at different points in the year. We said there's going to come a point in time, like once Doosan is out of it, they're going to just not care. And that's what I'm seeing from this team right now. Like the Doosan Bears are accustomed to being in the playoffs, competing for a Korean series. So the fact that they're down there 20 games under 500, I think you're going to see this team just mail it in the next couple weeks. And they're going to, they're down at the bottom of the standing. So you might not get a great price to play against them. But if you do, that might be a team to just bet against because I don't think they're going to care much the next couple weeks. Hanwha Eagles are interesting, though, because they are the worst team in the league, but they do play hard. So it's like every once in a while, they'll like just step up and nip you on a game that you don't think they're going to win. It's kind of like we talked about that coming out of the All-Star break, that they might have some potential. They haven't really haven't really played their way back into anything, but they definitely play hard. Guys, Samsung Lions, I don't even know what to make of this. All of a sudden, they just win every day. And I did not see this coming. Like there was no rhyme or reason for Samsung rattling off like 8 straight wins and being 7-2 in their last like 9 games, completely out of nowhere. After I want Brandon to rebuttal on that because I still don't know what to make of that. You go into the middle of the table, you've got the Kia Tigers in the 5th spot. NC and Lotte are chasing them, and all 3 of those teams are wildly inconsistent. It makes it difficult to play on or play against them. I'll leave it with this. The top 4 is basically settled, and here are my kind of thoughts on the top 4. I think KT, who's currently in 4th, is better than Kiwoom, and I think LG still has a chance to catch SSG. Outside of that, we'll see how the 5th spot plays out. If you can kind of infer some potential bets from that, I said Doosan, potentially a fade. They've given up. LG could still catch SSG for the top spot. And I still think KT is better than Kiwoom. That's what I get when I look at the standings. I'm curious to see if Brandon agrees.
Brandon, what's your thoughts on that, especially with the Samsung just kind of rolling in, and then we'll get to the chart that you have for the folks here today. But thoughts on what Adam's saying with this playoff outlook?
Sure. Yeah, Samsung and Kia are kind of the enigmas, in my opinion, because you don't really know what to expect, and they're really hard to cap. Samsung is annoying. I don't like this team. I don't like betting them. They have a bad bullpen. They have a lineup that sometimes scores 9 and then sometimes scores 1. It's really hard to cap. And as cappers, basically our job is predicated on predictability, and Samsung and Kia are 2 of the most unpredictable teams. The only thing I can predict about Samsung is that most of their games are going to be high scoring, as is today's. Today should be a big high scoring game with Samsung, but who knows? I'm staying off Samsung games for the time being because I hate them.
Because you hate them. I guess that's as good a reason as any, right? That's okay. Yes. Can't really argue with that logic right there, guys.
Yes.
Brandon, I want to take a look at, you're always coming on with what I call it, how the sausage is made special that we do here at the top.
Yes, sir.
And you like updating this one every few weeks. You throw it in there. It's the last 7 days and how run production has been going. I think this is an immediately kind of extractable data point. So floor is yours.
Yes. Before we get to that, I would like to dedicate this song to our beloved producer, Joe Ranieri. Did you ever know that you're my hero? Where are you going to get Bette Midler references in a Korean baseball show? Never.
Decent vibrato.
Never. Yes. So Joe just spreading love wherever he goes, with his voice in your ear 24 hours a day. It's wonderful. If you throw the chart up, I'll just get to the useful information. Hey, you guys are quick throwing that chart up. That's great. Okay, so good job, Robert. Thank you. So runs per game in the last 7 days is what I want to look at here. This chart actually has 3 pieces of kind of good information. I would say the purple column there is the first 5 innings run produced rank, and then the right side is runs per game in the last 7 days. So as we see, the Samsung, the team that I hate, is scoring 4 runs per game, and they're ranked 6th in the first 5. I don't know, first 7 is just something there that's just a byproduct of my numbers. I don't really pay attention to first 7 because it's not a bettable number, but first 5 is a bettable number, so I keep track of first 5 rank. Runs per game in the last 7 days. So this is basically an indicator of who's hot. I use this as one of my key factors for current form. So current form, Kia, 5.7 runs per game in the last week. We got NC 5.1 and LG 5.1. So those are the 3 kind of hot teams right now. Lotte is actually scoring quite a bit too at 5.0. So those are hot teams. LG, Kia, and NC are hot hitting teams at the moment. I don't put too much stock in current form, but it is a factor to consider when you're capping. And then who's cold? So Doosan, 3.4 at the bottom there. Very cold. Kiwoom, 3.6, pretty cold. And I always look, where's Hama? Hama's scoring 4.1. Not too bad, actually. Hama, like Adam alluded to earlier, Hama is one of those scrappy teams. Scrappy is the only way I can explain them. I don't like that word because Scrappy-Doo kind of killed the Scooby-Doo show, so I don't like to use the word scrappy, but they are. They battle. They really try hard, even though they suck. So I don't know, an equivalent major league team, I guess, would be the Miami Marlins, maybe. So yeah, that's kind of what I use in my cap. I use that chart for current form. So last 7 days run production. This obviously changes every day, and I'll update it. So I'll have a nice new chart for you guys next time.
There we go. Brandon letting you know what's been going on with the bats over the last week. Guys, let's get into our featured game. It's number 2 and number 3. It had to be this matchup with the LG Twins. Moneyline favorite minus 135. Your take back on Kiwoom plus 115. And then the total runs in this one sitting at 9.5. Brandon, I'll start with you and get your thoughts, because just looking at that chart that you just put up there, they would average, if you put them together over the last 7 days, around 8-ish runs. So high total. LG's been keeping up with the bats, but Kiwoom really hasn't. What's your thoughts on the matchup?
So as we've been saying pretty much all season, LG is the most complete team. They have great fielding, great hitting, great bullpen, great rotation. So they're really good at everything. Kiwoom, on the other hand, they're pretty average at everything. So, without, I could go into heavy detail, but without going into detail, if you have great against average, usually the great's going to win. I like the line. It's a pretty decent line. And I think that you're getting a good line here because Kim Yun-sik is on the mound for LG. He's not their best starter. But if you look at his numbers, if you look at Kim Yun-sik's numbers, he got blown up for 5 runs against Samsung. But besides that, he's pretty solid in all of his starts. And I show his numbers. He's got a better FIP than his counterpart. He's got a better ERA, and he's got a better WHIP than his counterpart. So his counterpart is named Han Hyun Hee for Kiwoom. Han Hyun-hee in his last 3 starts, he's given up 1, 2, and 7. So he's had a couple decent starts, but he's got blown up one time. So starting pitching pretty equal, but I do actually give LG a slight edge in starting pitching, and I give him a huge edge in the bullpen, and I give him a huge edge in current form and lineup. So I would go with LG here. But yeah, that's a pretty quick analysis. But, sometimes you don't need to overthink things. You just keep it simple. And LG's a better team.
Looking towards LG in our featured game, laying it on the money line. Trig, I know we'll be talking about this game a little bit later in our best bet segment, but want to give any just surface thoughts, anything on the total before you break down the side a little bit later?
Yeah, well, a couple things. My first thought, Dan, has nothing to do with the game. It's the fact that why is this game not on ESPN at 1 in the morning?
Fair.
Because I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they still have the rights. So this is it just makes no sense to me. In 2020, I think they got the rights to KBO for multiple years for the United
Forever.
States. So I have no idea, like, why is this game not on ESPN at 1 in the morning? Like, it just makes absolutely no sense to me. Huge missed opportunity. I want to build quickly on what Brandon said, because LG actually this week has not been in the best way. They came in great form. The last couple days have not been great for them, but look at who they faced. Hwang Hyun Kim, Wilmer Font, Eric Dopish, the last 3 days. So they've gone loss, tie, loss, and that tie, I had LG in that game, and their closer had converted 35 of 36 saves, managed to blow a save on a home run that was a line drive that wrapped around the foul pole. So bad, I guess you'd call it a bad push there. But they have faced 3 of the studs in KBO the last 3 days. Now they get Hung Hee Han, or whatever the hell his name is. That was just in the Futures League because he got sent down for poor performance. So
he sucks.
Well, regardless of what you think of the starting pitching, this is a big step down for LG, the number 1 run production team in the league, for what they've seen the last 3 days. We'll pick that back up in best bets, but I just wanted to kind of build on what Brandon said there because I very much agree with him in this spot.
Yeah, so come for the handicapping expertise, stay for the singing from Brandon, and of course the Asian baseball pronunciations from my guy Trig. I look forward to it every time you're breaking down players. I'm like, I don't even know the dude's name, and I know that can't be close. So, Trig, I'm going to throw it right back your way. I hope you have some players to handicap in this matchup between the NC Dinos and the Lotte Giants. You also wanted to take a look at the moving forward matchups that they have as well. NC going to be taking on KT, Lotte going to be taking on Samsung. So, a little bit of overview for both teams for you, Trig. Where are you going in these ones?
Yeah, so This is a Tokyo Brandon moment because I want his charts look so good lately, Dan, that I want to get some more mileage out of this one. So let's throw Brandon's chart back up when we get a second, if we can. Because
you threw a curveball. You threw a curveball to Robert, and he responded in a split second. Wow.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. Right now, this is this weekend. NC plays Doosan in what is a massive series for these two teams because they're the two teams chasing Kyo right now. And the more I look at this, so we'll preface this by saying they both play different teams on Friday. So you're going to have NC in a game with KT, and it's going to be Lotte Samsung. And actually, both of those games are pretty tightly, like those are pretty good matchups. So there's also a chance that both of these teams could be in close games for this game coming up. The reason I bring that up and the reason I want to look at Brandon's chart here is Saturday, each team's going to have they would probably consider their number 5 starter on the mound, or at least one of their back end starters. Okay. And then you look at Brandon's chart and you have NC last 7 days, 5.1 runs. Lotte, last 7 days, 5 runs. So those are both in the upper echelon of the league because the only two teams that have outscored those two over the last week are Kia and LG. I looked at the bullpen numbers for these two teams recently. Lotte's bullpen has gotten demolished so far in September, and NC's bullpen over the last 5 weeks has really not been great. And it's because they've had to eat up a lot of innings, and then you go back earlier in the week, and there was a scenario where their starter was out after like 2 innings, and they had to eat up an entire game. So here's what I kind of have thought up for this series. Saturday's game, the first game of the series, looks like an over. It also looks like there could be a ton of runs, especially if both teams use key bullpen guys in their games tonight, which, based on the matchup, looks like that could be very possible. Sunday, you're going to have Drew Rucinski for NC and Siwoong Park for Lotte, 2 very good pitchers. And also, I want to comment, Siwoong Park for Lotte, something they've done with him of late, they haven't run his pitch count up there like they were early in the season. So there was a couple times early in the year where he would throw on a Tuesday, came back on a Sunday, got blown up, but they've only had him going like 80, 90 pitches. So he's probably fine to make that start on Sunday. So you could if you get a boatload of runs on Saturday and it goes over, then you might be able to come back on Sunday and play under with at least under first 5 with a really good pitching matchup, Rucinski versus Park, and you might get a good number to do so because the offenses have been so high scoring over the past week or so. So it's going to be a great series to watch, guys, because those are the 2 teams that are chasing Kia for that last spot right now, and that might be a way to get action in it. You can get creative with that if you have in play and whatnot. But Saturday's game, NC help me out, Brett. NC Lotte. Looks like it gets high scoring. Sunday's game, especially with those starters, maybe a first 5 under. And if you get enough runs on Saturday, you might get a great number to do it. Just something I thought of, and I saw Brandon's chart, and I was like, oh, this makes complete sense. So that's how I'm looking at NC Lotte this weekend.
Cappers helping cappers right there. See, you can use the charts yourself. Trig just used one live on air. So when Brandon tells you screenshot it, clearly he knows what he's talking about. Brandon, let's swing it on over to the NPB, talk a little Japanese baseball here. We got a Pacific League matchup, Nippon Ham Fighters and my Oryx Buffaloes. What do we got here, brother?
Seibu Lions, my friend.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I didn't change my notes on that one. I guess my one bad. At least I didn't mute my mic, that's Brandon. Right. What do you got for your series breakdown today?
That's good. That's good. We are the world. We are the children. I'm feeling so. My heart is feeling so warm today because of our pre-show meeting with Joe Ranieri. I'm just feeling warm, I'm feeling like puppy dogs inside, So, anyways, to add to what Adam just said, Lotte and NC on the season, I just ran a quick number check, and they're averaging 7.8 runs per matchup, where the league average is 9.1. So, like Adam said, a sneaky underplay might be in line if the book puts out a high number. When Drew Rucinski is on the mound later on. So, yeah, I would agree with what he said. So let me break down a Japanese series. Unusually, this is really weird. The Japanese scheduling is unusual right now. There's no Pacific League. There's 2 leagues in Japanese baseball. There's the Central League and the Pacific League. So the Pacific League has no games today, but they're going to play Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So Monday's usually a day off, which is really strange. So this series is a Pacific League series, the Nippon Ham Fighters and the Seibu Lions. It starts tomorrow. So it'll be late Friday night, your guys' time, and Saturday here in Japan. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday series. So we do have time. There's no numbers out on this yet. But when I ran the numbers on these 2 teams, I noticed something very unusual. Japanese games, generally the average game score is 7.1. When these 2 teams get together, they've faced each other 15 times. The average game score is 5.6. It's really low. And so I did a little research as to why. And, Nippon Ham Fighters, they have a decent rotation. Nippon Ham Fighters always have good pitching. This is Shohei Ohtani played for Nippon Ham Fighters. Yu Darvish played for the Nippon Ham Fighters. So they always have good pitching. And Arihara for the Rangers, he kind of sucks now, but he played for the Nippon Ham Fighters too. So a lot of Nippon Ham Fighter pitchers go to Major League Baseball. As a matter of fact, Yu Darvish and Shohei Ohtani were in the same rotation in Japan, if you can believe that. So anyways, they always have good pitching. Seibu Lions have a great bullpen. And Seibu Lions right now are averaging only 3 runs a game in their last week, whereas the Nippon Ham Fighters are averaging only 2.2 runs a game the last week. So this is a good chance for an under. So when the numbers come out, I'll help you out here. When the numbers come out, if you see any team totals 3.5, I would bet the under. If you see any game totals 7 or 7.5, I would bet the under on that too. The only worry about unders in this series would be Nippon Ham's bad bullpen, because their bullpen is bad. But everything else indicates an under, and 5.6 runs per game in 15 games is enough sample size for me to say there's no way any of these games should go over 7. So that's how I'm going to approach this series. Unders, unders, unders.
Looking towards the unders between the Fighters and the Lions, of course, Tokyo Brandon. So, guys, let's get into our best bets. But first, I want to remind people, head on over to these guys' pages at WagerTalk.com. Not only do they have specials going on all the time, you can also go to the Pick Your Team tab on the website there at WagerTalk, and you can pick up to 5 handicappers. Use code PYT10. You can add these guys in your rotation. So you get baseball, you get MLB, you get Asian baseball. Triggy throws football in there, and then add in Prez, add in Teddy Covers, add in whoever you want. You can get 5 different handicappers, take 10% off the whole entire handicapping team using code PYT10. Brandon, if people do throw you in that little package, they'll be grabbing a 5% play tonight in Japanese baseball. You also have a 2-pack out, so remind people about that and let them know what you're going with for your free best bet here.
Yes, sir. 5% play tonight. It's a straight up money line in Japanese baseball. I love it. And it's only minus 105. Great number right now. Usually when I put a 5% play out, I'm not bragging, but the line does tend to move. I don't think it's because I put the play out, but it's probably because most of the money goes the same way as I'm thinking. The bookmakers and I probably think alike. So that number usually moves the wrong way, or the right way, I guess. So grab that before the number changes. My best bet for tonight, this is a client play. It's a smaller 2% client play, but I'm in the KBO. Like my chart set indicated before, Lotte, they're the second highest scoring team in the last week, and tonight they face Baek Jung-hyun. And Baek Jung-hyun, a 5+ ERA, he's got a 1.51 whip. He's awful, and his career whip is actually 1.46. And Adam alluded many shows ago that because of the reduced strike zone this season, if you see a pitcher who's regressing with this strike zone, it's a huge red flag, and I totally agree with him. The pitchers are basically getting help this season, so if they're having worse numbers than their career median average numbers, that means something is seriously wrong. And Baek Jung-hyun, something seriously wrong with this pitcher. His numbers are severely worse despite the favorable strike zone this season. He's facing a Lotte team that's averaging 5 runs per game the last week. So their team total is 4.5. I'm betting the over. Why would Lotte not be able to get 5 runs, which is their average, against a very below average pitcher and the 9th ranked bullpen out of 10 bullpens? Everything points to them going over 4.5 runs. Everything points to them scoring 5 tonight. I think they will score 5, and that's my play. Lotte over 4.5.
Lotte up and over the team total of 4.5, says Tokyo Brandon. Check him out, wt.buzz/TB. Trig, we teased it earlier in the show. If people have been listening, they might have been able to figure out what the best bet is, but make it official and remind people what you have up. One of those big ticket plays you always get pumped up for.
Yeah, as I said at the top of the show, 5% play, goes Sunday. First 5%er in NFL this season. So I'm excited about that. Finished last year hitting 4 of my last 5%ers, and I had a great NFL season. We had a winning preseason, and so I'm hoping that rolls right into this year. That's up on my page now. You can also find one of my college football plays for the weekend up for free. And I'm giving you my only play for Thursday or Friday morning, I guess, wherever you are. It's in the KBO, and I'm on the LG Twins minus 135. At the top, when we talked about this game initially, Brandon said the pitching's pretty even on paper. I agree with him, except Kiwoom does not hit left-handed pitching well, and Young-Sik Kim is a lefty. So even though Han and Kim, I would say I have them rated relatively equals as starting pitching, Kiwoom struggles against left-handed pitching, so I give them the edge there. And then I give LG the edge pretty much everywhere in this game. Their bullpen is the best in the league. Their offense has averaged more runs than any other team in KBO this season. And listen, they've lost 2 of their last 3 games, but look at who they've faced: Kwang Hyun Kim, Wilmer Font, Eric Jokic. They've been up against some of the top starters in KBO this week. A huge step down in class getting to face Han here. And Kiwoom's bullpen has struggled in the second half. They just had a couple close games where they needed some bullpen guys, whereas LG has bullpen arms for days. And yeah, LG, tough start to the week. This is cheap though. Minus 135 with this setup for what I consider to be a far better LG team, who's currently chasing SSG for the very, very valuable top spot, since the top team gets a bye all the way to the Korean Series. Just a great spot here with the better team. LG Twins minus 135. That money line should be a lot higher, and that's my 4%. It's my best bet for the show, and a 4% client play as well.
Free 4% play, and one that Brandon leaned towards earlier during our featured game segment. You can hop below in the comments. Let us know what you're going to be betting in Asian baseball this evening. And hey, why don't you just tweet at us all? You see our ats beneath us, our handles, I guess they're called, beneath us, and we're all going to be up watching these games. I know Trig's a night owl like me, so why not just chirp at us a little bit? We'll talk to you tonight when Asian baseball's going on. Enjoy the NFL, and that does it for us. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you guys throw these guys in your Pick Your Team special. And until then, for Adam Trigger, for Tokyo Brandon, and for Robert doing a great job behind the scenes, I'm Dan Alexander, and we'll see you Monday on Asian Baseball Today.
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.